I want to make Minecraft because I'm bored. I at least want to get the terrain generation in, and I'm gonna be doing this without a game engine because I absolutely hate myself. So, after thinking about it for a while, I thought of using two-dimensional arrays which I could later iterate through to generate the terrain. This was definitely easier said than done, but I somehow eventually got it working after like 45 minutes of debugging. Then I ripped off a random grass texture off Google and I totally got it up first try. However, in the end, I was capable of generating any kind of terrain based off of the 2D array. Even though it might not seem like much, it took me like 3 hours just to get to this point. Then I created a fairly simple algorithm that records the first instance of a grass block in a given column and stores it in an array, which I could later use to turn all other grass blocks to dirt. Actually, when I think about it, it wasn't easy at all. Oh, and did I mention I did some off-camera coding, and we also have a player and stone. Finally, it was time to work on the automatic terrain generation. I experimented with Perlin noise a little bit, but I wasn't quite happy with the results. So I decided that I'd create an overcomplicated algorithm to randomly generate the terrain within set boundaries because I really hate myself. So I began by creating a function that returns a whole 2D array because I would later rig this up to some kind of a function to concatenate it. And here, as the constants, the first 3 layers were air, last stone, and second last partially stone, with there being a chance of anywhere between 3 and 7 generating. But there were definitely rare cases where less would generate, where a stone would override another with a chance of 1 by 15 raised to n. I didn't really want to fix this because I'm extremely lazy. And for the variations in terrain, I implemented an algorithm where it would return an array of length 3 in the pattern n, n-2, and -4, where n could be anything from 3 to 8, which I would later use to generate mounts. And for some extra weird stuff, there was a 1 in 2 chance of a grass layer overriding the 5th layer. This might just be 30 seconds for you, but it took me hours to figure out. And for those of you who couldn't tell by now, I based this off of the Minecraft mob vote because yes. And now that I was pretty happy with the terrain, I started to work on adding grass and flower patches. To achieve this, I generated an initial x value ranging from 0 to 8 and added to the final x value, which ranges from 1 to 5. And then I use the grass index of the chunk, which I showed before, to do some math stuff to then finally override the world array to add grasses and flowers. And I did the same thing for the trees. And again, this was fairly simple now that I think about it, but I really struggled with this part. And finally, since I was done with the generation, I worked on the aesthetics, and well, see for yourself.